What is something you deeply regret doing as a child that still affects you to this day? In middle school, I jumped from the top of a slide and landed flat on the bottom, hurting my back. Pretty sure I've never recovered. When I was 4, a neighbor girl and I became friends. I invited her over one day to play. We were playing with dog food. It was fake food. Well, she started eating it. I screamed at her and called her nasty and was just shitty. Told her I didn't want to play with her anymore. As it turned out, the poor girl was severely neglected. Her parents never had food, so she was basically starving. It didn't dawn on me until I saw that they were kicked from their home and it was condemned and torn down a year after. I remember I went over to play one time and the house smelled like rotting hamburger meat. There were cockroaches everywhere. It was traumatizing. I cannot imagine living there. I have tried to find the girl via social media with no luck. Giving my niece floor burn for fun. I don't have a clue why I thought it was fun. Now they are in an awful state and completely covered in scars. When I was 13 or 14, I saw one of my lifelong friends walking down the street. Blank stare with her makeup running. I was on my bicycle racing to get home before my 8 p.m. curfew. So I didn't stop to talk to her. She committed suicide that night, and I was the last person to see her alive. I went through intense therapy after that, as I was filled with guilt and grief. I still have issues with that guilt today, some 21 years later. When I was 5, me and a friend found a frog down by the river. Being kids, we had no common sense yet. We kept throwing it in the air and watched it bounce off the ground thinking it must be having fun. It died, of course. At 60, I still can't look at a frog without feeling guilty. Not sleeping in my dying father's bed with him. He asked me to because he didn't want to be alone. I was 18 at the time and wasn't not prepared for all this. Until the day I die, I will never forgive myself. If someone offered you a box of everything you ever lost, what would you look for first? Childhood photos. Back before everything was digital, all photos were kept in an album or a box. Our basement got flooded and every photo was lost. There were some, like school photos, that were on the walls upstairs that survived. But all the normal silly candid photos were lost. Same thing as a teenager. I loved taking pictures and had all my photos in albums that somehow got lost along the way. The issue is that I can't recall what I've lost. When I was 10, my grandmother gave me a small bag of gems. It was one of the few things she actually gave me after my cousins were born. In it was a small piece of hematite. The paper that came with the bag explained what the different gems were and what they meant. The hematite supposedly protected from bleeding. 10-year-old me put that in my pocket and carried it with me everywhere. I carried that piece of hematite for 30 years in my pocket. I'm 40 now. Went on a trip last year and the shorts I was wearing developed a hole in the pocket that I was not aware of. The hematite fell out somewhere in my journey and I lost a 30-year-old friend. I'd look for that first. The little spirit horse figurine that I lost on a road trip with my family ages ago. I loved that horse figure so much and never wanted to lose it. We stopped at a rest stop and I put it down to wash my hands and completely forgot it on the sink there. By the time I realized, we had already pulled out of the rest stop and I knew my dad would refuse to go back for a toy, so I just sat there and cried for the next hour or so. Every once in a while I wonder what happened to that toy. Mom's silver necklace that I, as a teen, gave to someone I thought I was close to but wasn't. Never saw the person or the necklace again. My nose like WTF, some guy stole it at my 3rd birthday. Never got it back. What words, phrases do you hear someone say and immediately know you're probably not going to like the person? People don't like me because I tell it like it is. No offense, but just before saying the most offensive thing you've heard in your life. I'm brutally honest. I hate drama. I have never heard someone say this, unsolicited, and not been exhausted with their shenanigans within a day. I'm so bipolar to explain why they are indecisive or to play off poor life choices. Or just to say to sound quirky. Really hate that. I'm bipolar and rarely tell anyone. Describes himself as an alpha male. Tells you implausible stories about how tough he is, how many women he's banged. Yeah, me and you gonna fall out soon, buddy. Europeans that visited the States, what was the biggest culture shock you experienced? Everyone calling me honey, love, sweetie. Those words, terms of endearment, aren't used that casually over here. Netherlands. Not necessarily related to the country, but more to the people itself. Americans are by far the most social people I have come across in my travels. It seems like they have mastered the art of small talk with strangers. This has been mostly positive for me as it is really easy to be featured in their social groups. Kind of the opposite is the case in my country, the Netherlands. It has helped me understand why American immigrants in my country struggle with being happy. That everything is so big. Cars, food portions, tips, roads, people, attitudes. Always fun though. I know it's popular to dunk on Americans, but honestly, for me, it was how friendly everyone was. The price difference. First time I went to NYC I was living like a goddamn king off my normal average wage. Last time I went it was basically an exchange like for like with currency. But the big thing on every trip, Americans are for the most part really nice people and friendly. On a first gas station in New York State after crossing border with Canada, I started pushing my car for fun. Just to check if I am able to move it. Immediately some man in an old pickup truck stopped next to me and asked if I need help. It was mind-blowing to me because in my country even if I would wave to people asking for help I would wait at least an hour for somebody who would willing to help me. Do you believe in pretty privilege? If so, how prevalent do you think it is in society? It absolutely exists. As a one-time fit guy that then got overweight and is now fit again. It's absolutely a thing and encountered every day. Yes. I attribute about 60% of my success in life to being slightly above average looking and smelling good. Both of those things go a very long way in how people perceive and treat you. I had to break the news to my GF that getting free drinks and appetizers is not a common experience for most people when they go out. Real quick, is there anyone who thinks this doesn't exist? There's no goddamn way it doesn't exist. A blonde girl I sit next to at work is an absolute head turner, and every day she tells us how the man behind the counter at Greg's gives her extra bacon or an extra sausage on her breakfast sandwich. She doesn't ask for it and never pays extra for it. Subsequently, on our last team night out, when I went to a man walking round selling shots, I was told, as he looked at her, that it's £20 for a round, but the cute blonde gets hers for free. Right to my face. With no consideration for my feelings or attempt to hide that he was just straight up enforcing pretty privilege. Just to give another example, a conversation our team were having at work the other day. Cute blonde is going into extreme detail about her sex life. I'm talking dick size, positions, how long he went down on her. You name it. Everybody's chatting and laughing along, generally indulging the conversation. The minute it turned to sex toys, an obese woman on our team chimed in with, "Ooh, mine has diamonds on it." Quote, that was it. Just a simple comment about the decoration on a sex toy. But the room that was chatting and laughing along with the cute blonde went deadly silent. Everyone shifted uncomfortably and you just heard someone go, "Ew. There's no need for that." Obese woman hadn't even gone into anywhere near the level of detail cute blonde had. But it was so painfully obvious that people didn't want to hear it. Because she wasn't thin or pretty and they didn't want to picture it. Breaks my heart. Man. Even though I'm in my mid-30s and that shit stings a lot less than it used to. It really boils my piss that people get treated better than others just thanks to a quirk of genetics. Subscribe, my brothers.